that perhaps didn't get covered in the morning or didn't get covered in one of the sessions out there. And so one of the things, I've answered everything. I mean, I haven't given you everything I know because there's some things I just won't tell you, but because I'm chintzy that way. But I want you to be able to ask these questions. So there's some folks that not necessarily have presented today, but if you've ever finished the water safari, kind of raise your hand or stand up or whatever. All right. If you've ever finished in under 60 hours, raise your hand, whatever.
Novice?
No, just I don't care how you finish, just, under 60 hours. Under 40 hours, it's about, did you finish under 40? Oh, right on. Cool. So, there's some people here who actually have an idea of what's going on. So they can answer some questions. Holly, where is our novice winner from last year? So these are the guys that are where most of you are. It's like, what did we get them right? What did they know? What did they learn? And what is it that they probably wish they'd known before the race started? And so, over to you. Introduce yourselves properly. So
yeah, use the mic so I can pick it up for the big one. No pressure.
Hello everyone, I'm John Moore. I just want a swag bag. But last year, Nick and I got first novice. So.
My name's Nick Fauver. I was good Bowman, and he was a starman.
Yes.
Yep.
So talking to the mic and tell us how it went. How'd you prepare?
Yeah, so I think really our first foray into marathon canoe racing was the junior safari in September 24. That was our first race together. We finished in like
Almost 5 hours.
yeah, and then took what we learned from those races, or from that race and every race from the MAC races, from Saturdays out on San Marcos, and then from kind of picking every single person's brain that we could talk to, really to learn enough and kind of gain the experience through conversation to succeed.
Yeah, just add, take a lesson from Holly. If you don't have any experience, even if you do, she'll teach you how to read the water. She'll teach you how to, good technique. Know your job as a bowman, know your job as a starman, because you want a team. You don't want to be doing each other's job, and you can't.
What would you do differently?
I think we have the same answer as to what we would do differently. So we, in preparation, like last year, there were, for basically up until the weekend before the race, it was projected to be like historic lows on the river. And then the weekend before and, that week leading up to it, there was historic flooding. And so we basically overconsumed our nutrition and in the expectation for a longer race. And about halfway through night one, we started making pit stops until the afternoon of night two, and through that overconsumption of nutrition before we started to dial it back. And so I think that really taking the months leading up to the race to do some long runs, kind of see what food works for you, what doesn't work for you, definitely kind of saves you in the end, or during the big show.
What's the one thing that you wish somebody had told you that you didn't get told? Or maybe there's more than one.
Nick, what about being in between the tree and the boat?
Oh yeah. So this was cotton seed. This was like one of our probably our second time running cotton seed, and we tipped over, and I got in between the boat and the rock in the middle, and that is not where you want to be. I thought I could, just press it off, and there's no chance. So if you're in the bow, and you bail, just swim away from the boat. That way you don't get in a precarious position, right?
You guys mentioned the job of a bowman in this tournament. What are those This is the bow and the stern question.
I'll go bow.
Yeah.
So in our boat, my job was to keep the pace and keep the stroke rate. So I was always looking at my heart rate monitor and how fast we were going and making sure we were hitting our numbers. I was also in charge of the draw stroke. So when we would come up on a rapid or if we needed to, move the nose of the boat, you would do a draw stroke on the right or the left.
And then I was in the stern or the back of the boat, and so I was in charge of driving. And so it's a lot easier, it's like on boats, it's a lot easier to control the back and kind of like drift around things. I think about it like drifting, if you're like on ice or if you have like a drag car. But drifting around things, it's a lot easier to do that in the back than the front. So you're paddling, you're calling huts, like telling the person in the bow when to switch sides, because it's easier to just go in a straight line and like switch what side of your boat you're paddling on, instead of trying to like fishtail the boat one way or the other. It's just more efficient.
Any other questions?
How many races did y'all compete in before the water safari?
Did the junior, we did the Winter 100, Mac 4 race, River Marathon, and the Gator Chase.
So 5.
Yeah.
And now
4 race is super fun. It's at night, you get to test your light out. It's just a good time.
Yeah, and we like the setups that we used at every single race, I think were compounded on and different from like the lessons that we learned. And like the Winter 100 and the Mac 4 race, for instance, we used like a motorcycle clip for our light, and it worked and it was sufficient, but definitely not ideal. And by the time we had gotten to the water safari, we had gotten ram mount, like what you see on Holly's boat, where it's like the ball mount and then the like the other ball mount. We've gotten ball mounts, gotten bike lights, had our system like down pat by the time the actual race happened. And then we still had issues, so.
But learned a lot from all the other ones.
Yes.
How did your team captains do?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I think the biggest, going back to Jay's question about like what you didn't know or like weren't told, is to really be informative and direct with your team captains for what you want, and do that before the race. So my wife, like our wives were our team captains, and about my wife, I love her. She's very like type A, very detail oriented, very like has to know exactly what's going on from A to Z. And about a week before the race, she like looked at me and she's like, "I want to strangle you. You haven't told me anything about this." And so I spent like 2 hours basically doing the safari seminar for her. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't go last year, but basically doing the safari seminar saying, here's this checkpoint, here's where you're going to be, here's this checkpoint, here's where you're going to be, here's what I want at each checkpoint, here's like our estimated time based on like the water flow and based on like historical races and people with similar watercraft. And so really explaining all that, she was able to then during the actual race not have any questions, know exactly what's going on, know what to look for in like signs of fatigue and stuff like that, and then able to really like knock it out of the park for us.
Did your friendship go through ups and downs? And how did you get through the downs?
I think we both knew going in like what our goal was, and we knew we were gonna, butt heads. But we've been friends for like, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah, we were each other's best men, so it like kind of already been through the lows, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there were definitely times on like weekends on the river where we were like screaming at each other, being like, "Do your job, no, you do your," like arguing and fighting, and being like 5 minutes later, "Hey, yeah, man, I just want what's best for us." It's like, "Oh yeah, me too," And so it's kind of understanding that like friction will be there, because we spent all last year learning, and like we're still learning, we're still getting better. And so you kind of have to, it's okay to be frustrated, but you kind of have to have that expectation that like that's part of learning and getting better.
What are you racing this year?
So I'm racing with another guy that I met through paddling in Houston. Well, I guess that's another thing. Like for last year, Nick lives in Austin and I live in Houston, and so we got on the water like 12 times together, which was not ideal. So we were training during the week by ourselves and everything, and I joined a paddle club in Houston, met a guy through there, and so we're going to be racing, or we're training to race this year, you know. No, we're going to be doing Tandem Limited.
It's kind of the same story. I met a guy on Ladybug Lake through the last year, and we were training together during the week, and then me and John would train together on the weekend, and so we're going to race Tandem Limited as well.
So who's gonna beat you this year?
Yeah.
Who are you gonna win?
We'll see.
I mean, you have to believe in yourself, right? Like, that's all racing.
What was the toughest part of the race? In what area?
Toughest part of the race?
Toughest area to get through?
Nick may have a different answer, but I definitely think in between south of Highway 59 in Victoria to Invista is probably like that for us. That was night 2, and that was probably like the most like confusing and I don't want to say frustrating, but like I guess frustrating for lack of a better term, but like frustrating part of the race because you're right next to like an oil and gas refinery, and the river just, if you look at it on a map, the river just snakes into switchbacks for like 30 miles. And so every bend you're like, oh, we're getting closer. You hear the hum of the refinery and you just never get closer. So that was definitely like, and then you're like, it's night 2, it's 40 hours in, you're just like, okay, I'm dying now.
Yeah. I'd say I guess mine was probably Gonzo. So we got there around midnight, I think, the first night, and my nutrition just wasn't dialed. My stomach was messed up, and you try to eat something and you puke, and you're like, well, I got 35 to 40 more hours of this, so I just had to mentally get over that hump.
Yeah. What was your favorite hallucination?
Did you guys hallucinate? I mean, were you out there long enough to?
I didn't hallucinate. I thought that we were like in that same section. There's a bunch of like old like oxbows, and I don't think they were there during our race, but I'd heard about them, and so I was really concerned about going around the oxbow and then just going back up river because that's happened before, and that's what I was told to watch out for. And as like my job as a driver, I'm like, that can't happen. And so I was like, I started like freaking out, where I was like, we're going up river, because I was looking at my watch, and like, it's a longer story, but I thought we were going the wrong way, and I had to like reorient myself on my watch and be like, okay, no, we're actually going the right way. Like, okay, let's go. Like, and that was, yeah.
You just saw animals on the like trees turned into animals, but nothing crazy, unfortunately.
Next time.
Next time, yeah. Yeah, nothing crazy.
How many hours was that losing?
41.
43 hours and 9 minutes.
But who's counting?
Yeah.
Well, I got a question that this is urban legend or not, and maybe it's a general rule. Did your team captains ever hug you?
No.
Not until we were told that it was the end.
Is it permitted for the team captains to hug the paddlers?
So that's probably a question for me.
Yes.
The rule says no assistance other than verbal. I will tell you that in the 63, I think I've got that right, year history of the race, nobody has ever been disqualified, disciplined, or even talked dirty about for hugging their wife, hugging their kids, or whatever like that. So it's urban legend is what it is.
Thank you. But y'all are your competitors, you don't even want to bother.
They didn't even hug each other.
I don't think my wife wanted to hug me.
Yeah.
They smell.
Yeah.
Is that good? Cool. I think you're done.
Thank you guys.